In this video, we're going to be discussing combining integers using colored tiles. But first, before we combine the integers using the colored tiles, we need to know how they work with one another. If you put together a yellow colored tile or chip with a red chip, they cancel each other out. That's what's known as a zero pair. So a yellow chip will cancel out a red chip, and a red chip will cancel out a yellow chip. So these two opposite colored chips form two zero pairs here. Whenever we're combining integers, it's whatever is left over that's going to be the answer to the problem. Perhaps the most important point that I ask my students to do before they combine the integers is to circle the number with the sign in front or signs in front. This is going to tell you whether you're going to be drawing yellow circles or whether you're going to be drawing red circles, whether the number is positive or whether it's negative. So if we take a look at our first example here, we've got 4 plus a negative 2. Now we're going to wipe out plussing and minusing from our vocabulary for the next couple of days here. We're just going to be using the word combining. So we're combining two numbers. We're combining this number with this number. Now if you recall, before I stated that sometimes you're going to see a plus sign in front of a number, sometimes you're not going to see the plus sign or any sign out in front of a number. If you don't see any sign out in front of the number, it's automatically understood to be a positive number. So this would be a positive 4. The next number here kind of goes along with the same thing. This plus out here doesn't really mean anything. It just shows the fact that you're combining these two numbers. And the two numbers that we're combining is the positive 4 here with the negative 2. So that's why I have verbally explained here that I'm combining positive 4 with negative 2. So how I'm going to diagram that with chips, colored tiles, so I'm going to represent the positive 4 with 4 yellow chips, and I'm going to represent the negative 2 with 2 red chips. Now, as I said when creating zero pairs, if you have a yellow chip matched up with one red chip, they cancel each other out. So they equal 0. They're not worth anything. They cancel each other out. They're opposites. So these really don't have any value here. What we have left over is our answer. We've got 2 yellow chips. Now we set up here with our key that our yellow chips were positive in value. So what we have here is a positive 2. So 4 plus a negative 2, or 4 combined with a negative 2, is equal to a positive 2. In the next problem, we've got 2 numbers here that we're combining. We're combining, boxing out the number with the sign in front, a positive 5, and then boxing out this number with the sign in front shows us that we've just got a straight negative 7. It doesn't have the plus sign in the middle. This could read 5 plus a negative 7, showing that you're combining a positive 5 with a negative 7, but in this problem it's just left out. You're still combining that positive 5, so that's 5 yellow chips, with 7 red chips, because this number with the sign in front is negative, so that means I've got to draw red chips, my negative chips, 3, 4, 6, 7. Once again, I have opposing colors here. I've got a positive 1 and a negative 1, which cancel each other out. So I'm creating several zero pairs here. And what I have left over is my answer. So in this case, my answer is going to be a negative 2. Therefore, 5 combined with a negative 7 is equal to negative 2. Next problem, boxing out the number with the sign in front of it. The first number now has a sign out in front, and it's a negative sign. So we're combining a negative 3, box out the number with the sign in front of it, with a negative 4. So we're combining 2 negative numbers. Now if you're thinking about colored chips, if I'm combining red chips with more red chips, my answer is obviously going to be the color red. So that means my answer is automatically negative here. And I'm going to count up the amount of the combination between the two here. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So negative 3 minus 4, or negative 3 combined with a negative 4, equals negative 7. The very last example on this page, the two numbers that we're combining here, box out the number with the sign or signs in front. We've got a negative 2 combined with, and I'm going to box this number out with the signs in front. Again, this plus sign means that you're just combining or putting together those two numbers. And what I'm putting together here is a negative 2 with a negative 3. So that's negative 2 combined with negative 3. To draw that, that's going to be 2 red chips combined with 3 red chips. Once again here, if we're combining all red chips, then my answer is just going to be a larger negative value. So if I've got 2 red chips combined with 3 red chips, that gives me 5 red chips as my answer. And represented as an integer, that would be negative 5. So negative 2 combined with a negative 3 is equal to negative 5. Moving on to a few more examples. Very first step is to box out the number with the sign in front of it. This shows me that I'm combining a negative 4 with a positive 7. So if I'm combining a negative 4 with a positive 7, how I represent that with colored chips is 4 red chips and 7 yellow chips. So I've created 0 pairs here. A red will cancel out a yellow, just as the same as a yellow will cancel out a red. So these hold no value. They're kind of neutral there. They're 0 pairs. And what I have left over is going to be my answer. And I've got 1, 2, 3 yellow chips. Yellow is going to be positive, so my answer is going to be a positive 3. Negative 4 combined with a positive 7 is going to equal a positive 3. My next example. First step, box out the number with the sign in front of it. That's going to tell you whether you're going to be drawing yellow chips or whether you're going to be drawing red chips. So my first number is a negative 8, second number is a positive 3. So I'm combining a negative 8 with a positive 3. So in order to combine them with chips, I'm going to draw 8 red chips, and then I'm going to draw 3 yellow chips. Once again, red zaps out a yellow. And what I have left over are 5 red chips. Red meaning negative, so my answer here is a negative 5. So a negative 8 combined with a positive 3 is equal to a negative 5. Just a few more to go here. This next problem, box out the number with the sign in front, of course. I'm combining a positive 6, and again, this plus sign means that I'm just putting the two numbers together here, combining a positive 6 with a negative 5. So to diagram my positive 6, I'm going to use 6 yellow chips and then 5 red chips. Circling out my 0 pairs. Have no value there. And what I have left over is my answer. I have 1 yellow chip. Yellow is going to be positive, so my answer is a positive 1. 6 combined with a negative 5 is equal to a positive 1. These last two problems is where it gets a little different here. So I'm going to box out the number with the signs in front. That 4 has no sign out in front, so that's automatically understood to be positive. Now this -3 has another negative sign out in front. As if you recall, back when we represented integers verbally, we called this the opposite of a -3. So what we're combining here is a +4 with the opposite of -3. So if we're looking for the opposite of a -3, that means the opposite of 3 red chips, that's going to be 3 yellow chips. So what we're actually combining here is 4 and a +3. Again, we're combining 4 with the opposite of a -3. And the opposite of a -3 is a +3. So that's why we're rewriting this as being 4 plus 3. And I'll show you a little trick that my math teacher showed me when I was younger. Whenever you see two negative signs back to back like that without any numbers in between, you can make a big plus sign out of connecting the dots right there. So what we're really doing here is 4 plus 3. And I'll go ahead and diagram that. So if we're combining +4 with a +3, we're going to end up with a +7. So either way you write it, 4 combined with the opposite of a -3, or the same thing, 4 plus 3, it's still going to both equal 7. And we're going to do the same thing with the last example here. Box out the number with the sign in front of it. What we're combining here is -2 with the opposite of a -5. So I'm going to rewrite that. -2 stays, but the opposite of a -5 changes. The opposite of a -5 would be a +5. Once again, -5 would be 5 red chips. If you're looking for the opposite of 5 red chips, it's going to be 5 yellow chips, which is why I have the +5 here instead. So if I'm combining -2 with a +5, it's going to look like this. Got red and yellow chips that are going to cancel each other out. There's 0 pairs here. What I have left over is going to be my answer. It's going to be a +3. So a -2 combined with a +5 is equal to a +3. Or I could say a -2 combined with the opposite of a -5 is also 3. If you have any questions, stop by a morning tutoring session with some questions ready to ask. Thank you.